What's going on, everybody? It's Ecthelios, and in this video we're going to be go ahead and tackling the Serendian story of Black Desert Online, and basically working our way through this story, trying to get it knocked out as fast as we can in the most complete way. Just try to make sure we get anything important worth doing. We've already picked up the first few quests, and we're currently moving to do a quest down here in the quarry just to kill some imps. But the goal for this one will be to try and rush through him. If there's anything we can do on the side, I'll be sure to point that out going along, since this is, like I said before, going to be mainly a combat-oriented playthrough. Probably going to take some time to kill some mobs in certain areas not far from here for some more levels. But we'll go ahead and start working on some of these early quests, and then get back to pushing forward with our progression for this new account. Alright, so we've made it a little bit of a ways into the Serendian quest. We're just a couple of quests in, and we are currently here at the Lich Farm Ruins, just trying to push forward with the story quest. There's a couple of quests that can be got from two NPCs over here, one being Lich, who gives you the main quest, which is why is this happening, and then as you can see right over here, the soldier that's with her, he gives you an additional quest, which will give you an item that is going to help increase your health, and that is tied to what we have right here in your stats is these fitness skills. So you have 3 fitness skills that you hover over them and they will tell you what their specific functions are. So breath will help you get more stamina, strength will give you increased carry weight, and then health is going to give you more HP. And basically you'll get items as you level up, especially with seasons, that can get these skills close to about level 30, which is close to their soft cap. You'll of course want to keep getting them higher, but it'll be a good start for there. So this is just another one of those areas where you'll want to just grab a few extra quests on your way. It'll also help in the long run for things like the Rulipy Adventure Log, which will be a little bit later when we start discussing adventure logs. So for right now, we'll just go ahead and get these quests finished up, and then we're going to move on to the next area. Alright, so we've just finished fighting Dastard Beg and finishing up the initial Hydo questline for Bobby Lauren, and now we're at our first Crossroads. So this in particular, I wanted to go ahead and just drive out a point that this would be, with the type of playthrough we're going through here, is what we'll be looking at. This is going to be a more combat-oriented storyline, which would be Silence We're Done here, and this will involve us dealing mainly with the villagers, and then eventually moving to the Calion main quest line and into Kaplan. So for like the more combat-oriented playthrough, this is going to be the route that we go going forward. So before proceeding on with the main quest, I believe this would be a good time to talk about a bit of a different pathway for getting some early upgrades for this account starting on. So throughout our quest, we've been getting a myriad of items to help us out. We've gotten several of these gold bars, along with these 1Gs, 10Gs, and then Progonal silver bars, which these will drop from elite mobs that are out in the open world that we fight. So one way that we can go ahead and start pushing for some more gear early on with our Naru weapon, which will eventually become our Tuvala weapon, is to get ourselves some beginner Blackstones. Now, one way to get beginner Blackstones is going to be by following the quest line, which we will eventually have right here when we do this quest. This is the very first one we'll get when we fight Alrundi, the head of the rebels, and that will allow us to enhance our gear. However, there is another way that we can obtain these beginner Blackstones, and then if you read here at the bottom of the crafting recipes or materials for this item, you'll see that if we use 3 weapon Blackstones and heat them, we can obtain beginner Blackstones. So, in order for us to be able to obtain Blackstones this early on in the game, we're going to have to go through the central market, and we're going to need silver to do that. So what we'll do here is you take your gold bars and you're going to go to a storage keeper. Right here we have the dwarf storage keeper in Heidel. So we just kind of waited for that cutscene to finish up. So what we'll do is we'll talk with the storage manager here. We will talk and select this option here, currency exchange. At this point, we're able to select, this is how we can buy the gold bars if we would ever need them. Some quests will require you to have gold bars to exchange in quests, but we'll simply select the middle tab here, sell, and you can just highlight whichever one you'd like to have and then click select sell all selected. We'll just go through, see how those bars exchange out. We now have a little bit of silver, and then exchange all these out. So now what we're going to do, now that we've got a bit of silver, is we're going to go ahead and come up to the central market. The central market is located just in the middle of the roadways here in the main road. And we'll get ourselves some blackstones to go ahead and enhance our archive up a few levels. That way we can have...
You can entrust your goods without worry, since it's an official trade zone
some...
approved by the head of the Merchant Guild.
We can put some power behind our weapons. So what you want to do is once you talk to them, select Central Market, you're going to have no balance because you have to deposit money into the Central Market before you can buy anything. So we'll just go ahead and deposit 10 million silver here. And what we'll do is we'll select Purchase, and then here, just simply look up Blackstone and search. So obviously didn't really get anything out of that. So it's an enhancement material. We can go right here to Blackstone, and then see we have it here on the market at an average median price of 224,000 with 44,000 currently sitting on the market. So we'll sit here. We see that we have several listed. So we'll just go ahead and buy 40 of them. Pretty much take up the majority of our money. Then we'll back out, hit Manage Warehouse. We'll take our Blackstones and go ahead and pull them out. And now what we'll do is we will access them via the processing window by pressing the L key. And then we'll select Heating, selecting the Blackstone weapon, and then just go ahead and begin processing them. So we'll just go ahead and get ourselves a few beginner Blackstones to start, and then we'll go ahead and get our weapons upgrades, and then from there we will continue on with the story quest. So we will come back to it once this processing is finished. Alright, so we've just finished processing those stones. Now we've got 13 beginner Blackstones, and what we can do is we can go ahead and start enhancing our Naru weapon. So what we'll do is we'll just right click and equip this, and a way to... A nice little shortcut to get straight to your enhancement menu, which is accessed via the Black Spirit, is you can just go ahead and right-click on your enhancement items, in this case the stones. We'll see that we have our archive here, we'll highlight it, and then we have our stone selected. So here in the enhancement menu, we'll go ahead and just do a quick overview of it. You basically have three categories for enhancements. You have Enhance, which is your standard enhancing system. You have Kafras. Kafras is an enhancement system that applies typically later when you have higher level gear. It will not apply to us in Seasons because Seasons gear does not use Kafras to enhance, and it's typically used for boss gear that you have capped out to Pen Enhancement, which is the maximum enhancement, and allows you to push your gear even further. You also have Extraction. Extraction has two separate systems to it. This is for extracting fail stacks. Devour is involved in removing enhanced gear. You have a little bit of a descriptor here for the extraction system. And what you'll do is basically take an enhanced piece of gear, it'll go in this slot, and this will tell you how many fail stacks you'll get from it. Then there's also this item right here, the Blacksmith's Secret Book. This is an item that is purchased from blacksmiths that allow you to extract your current enhancement chances and store them for later as fail stacks. We'll talk a little bit more about fail stacking, how that system works with enhancing as we enhance our gear going forward. But for now, what we'll do is we'll just focus on just this enhancement system and trying to push this gear up. That way we have more power going forward. So we'll go ahead and just skip animation just for time's sake and begin just pushing this item up as high as we can. Now, as you'll notice here, basically up into +7, you have guaranteed enhancements up until this point. Now it'll start to go down. With Naru gear, this percentage will go down very little, even as this item increases in power. So what we'll do now at this point is we'll just go ahead and stop since we can't push any further. And now we have ourselves a +7 main hand weapon, putting us at 38 AP, which will give us a nice little boost going forward. Alright, so we've just finished the Serendian part of the storyline, and we are now moving on to Calion. We're starting off here at the Trina Night Fort. So now we'll go ahead and do an update with what we've been able to achieve so far. So let's go ahead and take a look at our gear. We're now up to 43 attack power, 30 DP. We've been able to get full Naru gear outside of just a couple of accessories, but we have all the armor now. We have our talisman, which we had prior to our necklace, and we've got all 4 armor pieces. Now with this part going forward, we're just going to focus on finishing up the quests. Now we should be starting to get more of the rewards, these beginner blackstones from Crossroads as we play through, and moving on now into the Delphi Knight's Castle, which is the area we're heading into now. We're actually going to start picking up another category of quests that we'll start seeing more frequently, especially as we start going further into the game, which we'll show here in just a moment. And this quest type is actually going to be a regional quest, and regional quests are quests that will appear when you go to the area that they occur in. So as you can see on the minimap, the harpies are glowing yellow already on the minimap to show that they are quest targets. And then as we move a little further down, you'll see how it pops up right there beside the minimap. Kill 20 harpies and we'll get 5 of the beginner stones. So we'll go ahead and finish this up. And just like that, receive it. And perfectly straightforward, very easy rewards to get. And as you get into later zones in the game, you'll start to get more of those, especially in the seasons. You'll have several areas that reward you with the regional quests, and they are very helpful with gathering materials, especially for the seasons. But also, once you get past seasons and start grinding higher level areas, you'll be able to get items like Jonas fragments and memory fragments, which will help you with enhancing later on in the game as well as completing certain quests. So we'll go ahead and start pushing into Calion here shortly, and then we will do an update once we have started making some progress into Calion. There wasn't much in the way of additional questing to be done in Serendia. Basically, a lot of the regions you went to had several quests you could pick up to increase combat, or correction, contribution EXP if you were wanting to go ahead and push that. But since we're trying to just go ahead and push for Pen Tuvala gear at a pretty steady pace, we're going to keep at the rate that we're going and keeping the side questing to a minimal at this time. However, we are making sure to talk with NPCs, that way we can keep building up our knowledge, which again we will address in a separate video. The knowledge system, how it works, what it does for you, and how it benefits you, and why it's important to get as much knowledge as you can as you progress through the game. So, with that said, we will go ahead and stop it here and get ready to move on in the next video when we tackle Calion. Alright, so we'll go ahead and end the Serendian questline and everything that we've done here prior to starting with Calion. We're just past the Trina Knight's Fort, hanging out before we go enter into this fun new little place on the western side of the game world. So, with that said, if you guys appreciate this guide so far with just moving through the main quest at a pretty solid pace, feel free to leave a like, comment. Appreciate any tips or information that'll help ease this up along the way for this brand new account. And if there's anything important worth backtracking to that I may have missed or might have overlooked, feel free to go ahead and toss that in there, and we'll do a backtrack to make sure that we don't lose out on anything important. But with that said, I appreciate y'all watching, and I will see you all in the next one as we tackle Calion.